And I'm a poet actually, Emily Pitt Newberry, if you will. And I've lived in Kailash EcoVillage since November 2008. And it started in December of 2007. Kailash was started by Ole and Maitri Urson. They bought this building, which was built in the 1950s as just a regular apartment building, in December of 2007. And then started, put their values and their mission and vision out there for everybody to see, and started inviting people to come and participate in this project. There are 32 units, one of which is the one Ole and Maitri live in, the other which is a dormitory, and then the rest all one bedroom. We have the new house in Rita, which is going to have 2 units with one 3-board bedroom and one 4-bedroom. Ole and Maitri were involved in sustainability projects from way back when they had their own 2-family house. One example being their home being the first legally permitted water catchment site for an individual family. They also got involved in a couple of co-housing projects before deciding to do this project on their own. We have teams here, so the biggest, most important, and probably will never go away team is the gardening team. We make decisions about where we're going to do community gardening, where we're going to have individual plots, what are we going to plant in the community gardening, sort of what's the rules about who participates and how we divide up the food for the community. We have a bicycle team, which has started a little bit more spontaneously. Some of the avid bicyclers were like, no, we need to decide what to do about such and such. And so they started up a team, and as long as they check in with Ole and Maitri, they're like, go for it. I'm on the library team. We run a little library down here. We have had a lot of freedom to decide what to do with that. And once again, we kept in mind, okay, what's the values of this place? What is it about? We have limited space, therefore, what kind of books would we accept? And we have 5 projects which are the core of Kailash. So there's the gardening, of course. There's rainwater catchment, solar, which we don't have yet, but is in the plans. The composting and recycling, and then people getting involved, building community through actually participating in those projects. And that's the really big thing about Kailash, is if you want to be informed and you want to have input into what's going on here, the more active you are in doing the work, the more you know and the more input you have. It's just very direct. If you got to hang out in your own unit and don't check your email that much, you will be very much in the dark, because nobody's going to try and drag you out and make you be informed. I mean, everybody gets the emails, and those that don't have emails on important things, we go around, we put the notices on the door. These drawings, there's 2 different things here. I don't know if you know who Mark Lakeman is. He's well known in the sustainable design community in Portland. He was asked to come, and this was early on. He was asked by Ole and Maitri to come in, and so these were a little more driven by Ole and Maitri's earliest decisions, do a drawing for us of what the place might look like in the future. Something that's really important to keep in mind about Kailash is that we are a work in progress. And Ole and Maitri are like some of the most incredibly hardworking people I have ever met in my life. And they have a really experimental attitude. So that little concrete structure over there covers up a well, which was dug 104 feet into the ground. So all of our gardens are watered with groundwater. We don't use any city water for that purpose.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's one reason why we want to do the water catchment, is to replenish the water that we use from the aquifer.
Right.
This is wood chips that deep.
Oh my gosh.
And what's been happening in the meantime, and I'll say a little bit more about it, but we save our urine in a bottle, and then we come and we dump it out here.
Oh.
And there's so much nitrogen in it that it helps the wood chips to decompose faster. So now, I mean, this isn't necessarily the purest, best soil in the world, but if you dig down a little bit,
So it's like a natural mulch.
you
Oh,
can,
that's cool.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about the EcoVillage is that you have to learn how to be sustainable, like as a group and like amongst your relationships, as like while you're trying to create a sustainable existence in your relationship with the earth. So like I think those two things it helps balance that, because you can get that out of whack, and there's something that, like, you know, you have to have love at the center of it, like you said, and if love is at the center, like it's going to be very obvious in a group of people if that's really where you're coming from or not. And as an individual, you know, it's kind of hard, I think, to balance that, but it comes out pretty quickly, like when you're interacting in a group of people, like where are you coming from, what's your motivation? And I think people's strengths and weaknesses and different personality types and stuff, and people who are creative and people who are like go-getters, you know, like all those different things can kind of come together and, you know, help the, you know, bigger mission of living sustainable. And yeah, so I think it's a cool way to explore that, and I think that it can be maybe a little bit more overarching too, because you're stretched to look at sustainability in a broader way. It can't just be about, you know, your interactions with the earth alone, because you're on the earth with people too, so you better interact with them in a way that's sustainable.
Everybody's living in a community, and how they're able to have a creative outlook and kind of, you know, either through gardening or through, you know, poetry. Like Emily kind of had her outlet through poetry. I thought it was also cool how they had a bunch of different projects that they were working on that kind of were experimental. You know, the human composting was kind of different, and using your urine to fertilize the ground. I thought that was interesting. Never really thought about that. And yeah, I really liked that coming to visit it. It was interesting, and I liked all their sustainable practices that they were kind of going into.
How do you think Kailash relates to sustainability as a whole?
Well, Kailash is, to me, very sustainable. They have their project going on right here in their little community garden about taking all the rainwater and putting it into the aquifers, and the affordability for this place is very good, because most people, they can't live sustainably for a cheap price, and they have all their crops grown over here, and if they eat meat, all they have to do is just go and buy meat. And the wildlife here, saw 2 different birds today that I've never seen in my life, so it's a good part of it.
I think the coolest part about Kailash EcoVillage, in my experience, was witnessing the creativity of the inhabitants, and also all of the sustainable ideas that they're coming up with, and that I think are going to be applicable in the future. Also, we live in an urban landscape, and we don't get a lot of chances to be truly creative. So I think that's the most inspiring part about Kailash for me.
Even though not everyone may be able to live in an eco-village like Kailash, there are still some really good qualities about it and values that we can take away from it, like simplicity and frugality. So I may not be peeing in a bucket and saving it and putting it in my garden, but I can still focus my attention on living really intentionally about the people that I live with and with the earth and all of the other relationships that I have.
And don't forget the love!
Okay, let's turn it off, and then we can...
Dang it, creative aspect of.
Are you filming me?
Having fun? Why is the water not coming out? I'm confused.
I have to go. I was just bumping.